Hey Joshua, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. I'm going to go through and talk a little bit about your delivery, talk about your mechanics. You're doing a real good job at really getting down the hill, working down the hill, especially for your height. You got to make sure that we're really using that lower half, and you've got a real good foundation, real good setup, sort of a sense of your mechanics that, for your age is really good. So I like to see that, and we'll kind of talk through a little bit more about your delivery and just ways that we can maximize a little bit more of your lower half to get you throwing a little bit more stronger, utilizing a little bit more hips, and just using that. Basically, your hips are where all that velocity is coming from. That's where that power is coming from. You have a real good sense of your upper body, the way your upper body needs to work, and your lower body too. Now it's just a matter of just a few little adjustments. But as you get older, get stronger, it's going to be something that should be pretty easy for you to keep improving on, because you already have that foundation now. So that's good to see. So we'll go through and talk a little bit about each little step we look at. We look at a few things throughout the delivery, but the initial one is your setup. All right. So from the windup, you're doing a good job at limiting your movements. We don't want a whole lot of huge movements side to side, front to back. All right. One of the things that will help you out a lot that doesn't seem like a huge thing. All right. Try to get to a point where, all right, it's above the head is fine, but what makes it tough is that if it's hard to time. All right. So we just got to make sure that you're getting that timing right. All right. What I mean by timing is we got to make sure that you're bringing your hands back down a little bit quicker so they've cleared your face before that leg comes up. All right, we don't want that leg coming up and then that glove going in front of our face, and we want that because once this leg gets up off the ground, we want to try to get our eyes on that catcher. All right, so you can see you're still kind of looking off this way, so we want to make sure that the eyes are on that catcher. The quicker we can get our eyes on that catcher, it doesn't seem like it'll make a huge difference, but believe me, it does. It worked for me, and it's just the more you can lock in on that, it just gives that brain those cues to where we want to throw it. It gives that direction of just to focus everything straight on that glove and hopefully deliver that strike. So just work on that just a little bit quicker. Bring the hands a little bit quicker down so they've cleared your face before that leg starts to come up. All right. Another thing too here is I talked a little bit about hips leading ourselves down the mound. So basically, we want to make sure that we're getting to a point that we are getting our hips closing. And all we need to do there is just work on maybe getting it's kind of tough at this angle, but it looks like you could probably get your knee a little bit farther over that knee, or that back foot. All right, just get them closed a little bit more initially, just to a point where we're not moving that front shoulder. But it looks like we could get a little bit more closed initially, which will help with that timing. All right. So now at the height of your leg kick, which is right here, we want to see movement in our hips forward. We want to see that ball come out of our glove, and then we want to see that knee and that foot just kind of drop down and lag behind our hips, but we always want to see the hips lead first. All right. So as you start, all right, you can see that there's a little bit of movement in the hips, but there's really not a whole lot of forward momentum. All right. If we draw a line right here, let me clear all this stuff here. All right. And what you're going to see is you're going to see what looks like hip movement forward, but all it is just a postural change. All right. So as you can see here, you really haven't gained a whole lot of ground. You're just kind of dropping back and over this back foot. All right, we want to try to get more movement forward. We want to try to get a little bit straighter posture. There can be a little bit of bend back, but we kind of want to limit that to the back of our hip. All right, so just get more distance forward with everything. And just basically take this box, and drive everything forward. And so now at this position, you're still a little bit straighter. There'll be a little bit of bend, but you're somewhere over that middle of that leg or something. And this foot hasn't come past your hips yet. All right, that's just kind of what I mean by the hips leading, because we don't want that foot to come out past those hips till we're about halfway through our stride length. So maybe now for you, now that leg would just start to be coming out. Now it would kind of be kicking over, getting ready to land, and then it would land, foot strike here. So you're just a little bit early, and all that is that initial postural change. All right, and all that does is that takes you from, being a tall pitcher, and that just drops you down, makes you a little bit shorter. All right, so it's good to kind of get that drive back there, but just watch, this a little bit too much. It's not too bad here, but it's something that if you can try to stay up just a little bit more, it'll be a lot better for you to just hips-wise, all right? So through here, to your foot strike, so here's your foot strike. Once that front foot hits the ground, all right, looks like it's probably somewhere between this frame and this frame. We'll call it this frame here, all right? Great hip-shoulder separation, all right? What I mean by that is that hip starting to turn forward before that shoulder's going forward, all right? So that's awesome. That's good to see, especially at your age. All right. Now, one thing that you can work on to help sort of maximize that a little bit more is to keep this front shoulder, this front elbow closed a little bit more. So just close it off a little bit more, and just try to keep that out there a little bit more. You're doing good at keeping your glove closed out front. All right. Now just try to just maybe an extra frame close on that elbow, and that'll help, create a little bit more torque in these hips, all right? But you're doing great at, transferring that energy forward, all right? So you have everything in motion here. You got the hip-shoulder separation. The more you can kind of keep this closed a little bit longer, basically from the foot strike through release, you're losing some power, and you can get a lot more by finishing, by following all the way through this back leg, all right? And I'll show you what I mean by that. As you can see through your release, all right, that back foot, our release is basically somewhere between here and here, all right? You can see that back foot's popped up a little bit off the ground, but the biggest thing for you is you're releasing the ball with your head behind your foot. All right, so just use more legs, more back. We want to try to create an angle where we're out over this front foot somewhere. So all that means is we're staying through our back leg longer, and we're getting farther out over that front foot. So now our head's going to be out here. All right, so we're just getting farther out over that front foot. So just work on that release, and that'll help keeping that left elbow closed a little bit longer, but also limiting this so much will help you get farther out, because it just kind of makes you rotate, kind of makes you want to rotate a little bit too far back. So you're just getting that rotation there, but we'd want to get your rotation a little bit farther out here, so then you can finish all the way through that back leg and just create that angle out here. So now that ball is going to be going downhill more, you're going to be creating more energy, more velocity, and then you're going to see that finish, more sort of flat. It's just a matter of just maximizing your legs and your body and just getting everything rolling out front, all right? So, but like I said, it's really good for your age. Everything's solid. You got a good sense of how everything works, especially with that torque. Now it's just a matter of, as you get older and stronger, just utilizing more of those legs, all right? So just work on not using so much posture, just using more hips, getting them going quicker, and just get them going farther down the mound, and you're going to be solid, all right? So thanks for making it out to camp. Hopefully you had a great time, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.